So
Yeah,
yeah,
I'll help you out with it.
Just go back out.
I'm not going to have you guess what the questions are. So.
right. Well, I thought too, I might show off some equipment.
You've already got your stick out. We have made it through 6 shows without you pulling your stick out, Frank.
Put it away.
So sometimes it's just.
Oh my goodness. You can't just pull your stick out anytime.
If in doubt,
You
whip
can't
it
do
out.
that. Get the stick out. Why is your stick wet? Man, put that up, Frank.
You can see we're all about serious.
All right, welcome to the show, everyone. Frank playing with a stick already. I'm glad everybody got to see that right off the bat. Episode 15.
That's right, episode 15.
That's
So,
it. That's all we got.
episode
Hey,
15.
episode 15. Nice to see everyone. Thanks for joining us.
Have a good night. So,
Hey, all right. So, hey, we're going to get started here. We already got a few in. Pink joins us so far. Thanks, Pink, for watching. Jennifer Lynn Wickle, she was just that's one of our good friends, and she's watching tonight. Thanks, Jennifer.
Yep. So, yeah, tonight we are talking with Dee Harper. She is one of our
Absolutely,
team members.
Hello.
Her debut show.
Yes.
She is our next victim. You know, we had
Volunteer.
Volunteer.
Remember
Yes,
we
I'm
talked
sorry,
about that
yes.
because, you know.
I
that-
keep getting those terms mixed
Right,
up.
right.
I'm sorry.
Pretty much the same thing, but.
She looks exactly like Pink did when we had her on the
Yikes.
show. We really.
Right.
So, but yeah, hey, welcome to the show, Deanna. Nice to see you again. Always a pleasure to be in your company.
I'm happy to be here.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So, Dee is going to talk with us tonight a little bit about how she prepares for an investigation. She is also one of our empaths, our sensitives. She will be talking a little about spirit writing. That's what she kind of specializes in. Kind of similar to the show we had with Pink a couple weeks ago. So we're going to dive back into that once again. This is part 2 of the show. So we'll get started.
Yeah, so. Yeah, because I mean, what it does this way we heard Pink talk about how it is for her, but everybody's abilities work a little different.
Yeah.
It does. It really does.
And,
Yeah.
and we need that other perspective.
And she's already have someone's in chat that says, do you know someone by name Shannon Jones?
I sure do.
Do you?
I sure do.
Well, she says, hey, my love, Dee. I thought she was talking to me for a minute there. I mean, I was like, hey, I got a fan. Hey, all right. But, hey, I saw that, well, it's probably not me.
I'm a butterfly. Love you too.
We don't talk like that on this show. We keep it.
Yeah, I mean, we tried that once. It was all awkward. Donald wouldn't sit near me for like
Yeah,
a
it
week.
was. It really was. You're not supposed to do a show and go home feel violated the whole time. That's not the way
Probably
this
wouldn't
works.
have been as bad if it hadn't been the week after I wore the cheerleading outfit.
Yeah.
whole different story.
Which we do. We have to make another bet on next year, So we got a couple months.
It's okay. I'm gonna win the next one.
No, it's
I
not
will
gonna
win.
happen. No, it's not going to happen. Auburn football rules. So, anyway, let's get off of football now. We're talking about the paranormal with Dee, Deanna Harper, and Frank Lee down there joining everyone. Dee, why don't you get a little started? I guess the first question I like to ask is, when did you become aware that you had these extrasensory perceptions? And explain to the people that are watching what you actually feel and kind of do while you're on an investigation.
Okay. I was probably about 5-ish. I didn't really know what was going on. It freaked me out a lot, scared me a lot.
So when you're saying that it's freaked you out and scared you were seeing things
I
actually?
saw
You were seeing images.
them as it looked like people to me, but scarier sometimes.
And at 5 years old,
Grotesque.
that could be very scary for
Yeah.
a 5-year-old.
Yeah.
And that goes to the claim that also that children actually receive more, visits, I guess you could say, from the paranormal than actual,
Right.
adults do.
I kind of blocked it all out as I grew up because it scared me so bad. But I always had the feeling, you know, I always knew when something was around, and then I just shut it down. And I actually, when I met Pink, and our friend Derek, they helped me hone in on some of those abilities and open back up, not be so afraid.
Right.
And I came to find out that it's really not something to be completely scared of.
Right.
You know, not all the time.
Step out of your comfort zone a little bit. Right.
Yeah.
Now, how did you really prepare yourself mentally to deal with that? Did you have to go through a meditation phase? Did you have to sit back and learn how to block the evil and let in the good, or, you know, how?
Yes. It's kind of like I have a brick wall, and I keep it up. If I feel like somebody, or, you know, is wanting to relay a message or etc., I let it down, and it comes through. And then when I shut it back off, I put the wall back up. But I go to kind of a meditation place, like my place is in the forest. It's all green, pretty, there's water, you know.
That's
it's a happy place.
Basically, a Happy Gilmore happy place. You go there. So Bob Barker might be down there.
Midget riding a stick horse.
So that's really interesting to me, because, you know, you also do something that I'm fascinated with, and that is spirit writing, and we'll get into that a little bit more later in the show. When we come out with, say, when Frank posts to the group that, hey, we've got an investigation in 2 weeks, we intentionally keep you, Pink, and Andy from having any knowledge of the case whatsoever.
Yeah.
How do you prepare yourself? Do you start that day, 2 weeks before the investigation, trying to mentally prepare yourself, or do you wait till the ride up there to mentally prepare, to physically prepare yourself as well? Because it takes a lot of energy to do this.
It does. Pretty much as soon as you
Electroshock therapy, Pete says.
pretty much as soon as you guys let us know that we're going somewhere, I kind of just prepare as much as possible, really. Energy drinks are always a buzz, but mentally, no, I try to meditate. And
so meditation to you is the key part that basically gets you in the state that you need to be in order to perceive what's actually happening to you and actually happening out there.
Right.
So, so something I'm curious about.
I'm using big words tonight. Did you hear that? Perceive and Ian. I'm using big ones tonight.
Right. He finished up reading that last book I gave to him, and now he's on the dictionary like halfway through.
I know. Yeah. I haven't even opened that book yet, Frank. It keeps. I just don't want to. I'm not a reader.
We're working on that.
If they ever make a movie out of Hauntings, Poltergeists, and by Lloyd Auerbach, I will know the book by then. Okay. Cliff Notes.
I've decided. I've been meaning to contact Lloyd about getting maybe do a pop-up book.
Hey, pop-up books, they're the best.
Yeah, they'll keep your attention for sure.
No, that something I'm curious about.
I'm sorry, Frank. I just want to give a couple shout-outs real quick. Blanche is watching.
Awesome.
Hey,
my mother-in-law, my wife's mother, Pink's grandmother. Yep, great lady. Hello, now thanks for watching. Jennifer has joined us.
You know, I'm just going to say that is a really that says something when someone talks that highly of their mother-in-law without even being paid. He was not bribed to say that.
I really am not, because she controls this family, and I can become not part of the family pretty quickly. All it takes is one. He goes, and that's it. I'm done. So I have to stay on good behavior when she's watching. Misty Farley Adams says, hello, Frank.
Oh, hi, Misty.
Thanks for watching. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So your question now. Sorry to interrupt you. I had to give those shout outs real quick.
So I know I've had a similar experience, and I have the ESP abilities of that can right there.
Yeah.
And that's about how far mine go. Um, so something I'm curious about is before an investigation, like you find out, say we set something up, in that time period between it being set up and when we actually go investigate, have you ever had any experiences prior to it that were kind of linked to it, to the investigation?
One that we went on with the marble table move, the house. I had
Yes,
a
the
dream
one in-
before we went, actually.
You had a dream before we went to
I
that
did.
case.
It was actually all of us standing outside looking up at the house, and it just really kept changing different colors. Not a whole lot was happening. And I didn't even know what the house looked like. And then when we got there, it kind of,
That's my
gave
next
me the
question.
willies
Yeah,
because
yeah,
I was like, this is
deja
the
vu.
house.
Oh,
Yeah.
my goodness.
I get
yeah.
deja vu a lot of deja vu.
Now, do you think, Frank? Actually, I got a question for you. Do you think deja vu it could be linked to the paranormal?
I think it very well could be. There are a lot of cases of people having prophetic dreams, or even visions, premonitions, things like that. And a lot of there are so many cases where people don't realize they've had it until later on when they see the event happen. Wait, I dreamed about that. And a lot of people in those situations, they'll keep a journal and they'll keep a sleep journal or anything to have some kind of record. And they'll go back flipping through, and it matches up so closely, it's eerie.
Right, yeah. It gives you the creeps when you have deja vu. I was driving through Louisiana. Some of my family live out that way. And I've never been to this town before in my life. And I was driving through, and I saw a hardware store, and I remember the dream. The hardware on the side of the building read and looked exactly like the way I saw it in my dream. And it gives you the creeps.
It does.
That's all I remember about
I think
the
that-
dream was the hardware part of it.
I
But
think a little bit of that could be a past life.
Well,
possibility,
I was just about to say, there are those cases of what they believe are reincarnation cases.
yeah.
Where they'll have a
Frank,
small child.
You even had a spirit visit you while you were talking on the phone with a client trying to get them to calm down. You were sitting in your car.
Yes.
If you remember that, you called me right after and was telling me about it. That
Yeah,
was a
that's-
creepy little story there too.
So yeah, that some of the things that, that's like there was one case that we did that the phone rang about 3:00 in the morning, and 3:00 in the morning. I'm sorry, I'm most likely not going to answer the phone. I'm probably not going to talk to you. You probably don't want to talk to me. And the phone rang, and I just, I remember waking up just enough to turn the ringer off, so then I thought, well, I can talk to them in the morning,
Right.
So it rang again a few minutes later, and when it rang the second time, I cut it off. Well, maybe 5-10 minutes later, I actually heard something in my ear, and I felt breath on my ear, and I didn't dream it. I was still, pretty much awake from when the phone had rang before, and it was a male voice, and I mean, there's no kind of crazy activity goes on in my house. It's calm, boring, all that good stuff that you want to have at your own house.
It's never calm at Frank's house. Don't let him lie to you.
The only bizarre activity going on there is my own. Okay, we'll just put it that way.
Thank you. There we go. Now the truth comes out.
We'll
All
settle
right.
that.
Blinking lights, neighbors
right.
calling the police
Right.
over there all the time. A strange
Right.
smell coming from the backside. I don't know what that is.
That's where I hide the bodies. So,
Should I be scared?
Be very afraid because that's a text I get about once a week from him. Hey Donald, I got something working. Be afraid, and that's all it tells me. And I'm like, oh crap! But I say the other word. You know, it's like, man, what has he got us into? Man, gee.
But yeah,
So-
you know, after I'd silenced it, those 2 times, a few minutes later, this voice whispers in my ear. It's a male voice, and like I say, I felt breath on my ear, and I'm the only one in the house. You know,
Right.
that's not a good thing. But it was a voice that said very clearly, no mistaking about it, says, "Wake up," just like that, in that tone, and I'm like, okay, well, maybe I should wake up.
Maybe I should wake up. You got some coffee ready?
About 30 seconds later, the phone rings again. I'm like, well, maybe I need to answer that. And the people, they're freaking out. All hell's breaking loose. And as I'm talking to them, everything kind of calms down while I'm on the phone with them. We went out and investigated there like 2 weeks later. I think it was.
Yeah.
And you know, while we were there, we got a lot of strange activity, including that same male voice I heard coming through on an EVP from what sounded like 3 people talking in the middle of an empty room.
Right. Yeah, it was a really compelling.
Right.
Class A EVP of that. You can actually hear the conversation they were having. And it actually came to your house and woke you up to answer that phone. You know,
so that's, yeah, and you know, it's like I say, you know, I have about the extra sensory ability of a lead weight, but you know, I still had that experience, and that you know, that fascinates me when
right, yeah.
when you know, I'm doing good with my sensory abilities, you know, to be able to, you know, like
You know, it makes you think, how can they actually go? How do they know who they're calling? How do they know to come to you? You know, it's astonishing to me. It amazes me as well, and I would like to find that out. How could you know that the spirit know that you're about to come and investigate this home? You know, and they already coming. You know, that reminds me of somewhat of a couple episodes on TV. That's happened to a couple of those investigators as well. I'm not going to mention any names, but it has happened. Maybe. So, as scripted as that stuff is.
Well, see, and with me, you know, I tend to be so much more on the skeptical side.
Right.
You know, I don't want to call anything paranormal until I went through the entire encyclopedia of things that it could be otherwise.
Too many people label something paranormal way too early before they actually debunk the things that could actually possibly be.
Right. Well, that's like the haunted fish
Always
aquarium
find things.
case. Right. That.
Hi, Ann. Thanks for joining us.
Well, you know, it's like the haunted fish aquarium case. You know, we were the 4th team that had investigated that place.
I'm read with you.
Yeah.
And out of the 3 prior teams had told them they needed cleansing, they need exorcism. There was nothing that could be done. They were just going to have to move. That, you know, all this stuff. And we go out there, and it's the fish tank putting off infrasound. Fix the purifier on the fish tank. All of a sudden, the ghosts are gone.
Right. People don't understand how outside elements can actually affect your body. You know, we've talked about this, Frank. The hum from a ceiling fan motor can actually send out enough vibrations to make your eyes vibrate, and you'll start seeing shadow figures in your peripheral vision. Some of these things you have to take into consideration.
Yeah.
You can't just label anything paranormal right off the bat. You know, you actually have to do some research on the place, read some books, contact some people that know a little more about it than you do, and like Frank will sit on the phone for hours and talk them down. You know, calm them down, let them know that there's nothing to be afraid of. You know, it's
So what do you do when a face comes flying at your face?
I get out of there. I get on. So I don't stick around and find
I
out.
tell them I'm going to have to have more coffee first.
Yeah, right.
It scares me at first, but then
I understand, and I bet it does.
You know, I have literally done that with the coffee. I say that jokingly. We were investigating at the old South Pittsburgh Hospital. Laura was with us, and we, you know, it was me and Laura were walking through the hallway from. We'd actually spent the night in some of the old ICU rooms up there and stayed on the side while we were there for 3 days, and that was fun. It's like 7 in the morning. just woke up. I'm walking down the hallway. She's walking next to me. Walk past an empty room and hear BAM! And then this chair slide across the floor. She, and she looks at me because I like don't react, and I'm like, no, it's too early for that. I haven't had my coffee yet.
Yeah, you gotta go.
And just the look she gave me after that, she's like, what the crap? It's like, you're going to say, no, I haven't had coffee yet. And ironically, that night they were doing a ghost box session upstairs. And there was one response, and it wasn't a radio station saying this because, of the language and the FCC and everything. But they got one that very clearly says Frank is an a-hole.
Wow.
It's like, okay, well, that must have been the one that I blew off this morning before coffee.
Man, he was saying things we've been wanting to say to you for years.
I mean, can you believe him to say such as someone as sweet as I am?
Ooh, I don't know if those are the adjectives we want to describe you with, Frank. But hey, that's some interesting stories. And I don't have any stories to where one has came and visited me anywhere. There's a lot of times that I won't even see anything on an investigation, but everyone else will have experiences. Right. And the one time that I did have, or not the one time, I've had several experiences, but there was a time that we were all investigating, and you, Pink, and Derek, we all went at the same time. We went to this place, and for some reason we were walking out, and y'all four stood around and was talking to the client. I had stepped away for a minute, and I was standing out there, and it kind of felt like, I was getting upset about something, and I don't know why I was getting upset. And Derek and you kept looking over there at me, watching me, and y'all finally told me when we got in the car it was a good thing we left because it was watching you. It was around you a lot. Yeah. And that creeped me the heck out because I remember the feeling I got because I got mad for no reason. Right. Just standing there.
My eyes want to water now just thinking about it.
And it actually made me somewhat less skeptical of ESP and the spirit writing that you do and all the extrasensory stuff that people experience. When like me and Frank, we don't experience that. It's hard for us to recollect, or not recollect, but to recognize the things that y'all have to do and go through in order to see these things. So
I'm just thinking, when I'm walking around with my little camera rig and got my headphones on, everybody thinks I'm live listening for EVPs. No, it's just because I can't hear and I can amplify it if I put it out to the output.
So you got to hear everybody. Okay. So you're not really investigating then, is it? Of course.
Shannon, you should be afraid that I don't come home. She said to be afraid.
Oh, yes, she said yes, be afraid. So, absolutely. Anytime Frank sends you a text message, be afraid.
Be afraid.
But we mentioned spirit writing.
Yeah.
Now, you say you go into a meditative state before you go to an investigation. Explain to me the spirit writing part. You do not know at the time what word you were trying to write.
No, I don't know. I have no clue what's happening, really.
Are you in a meditative state again when you...
Kind of.
Explain that to us just a little bit, please.
Well, first I relax and I pull down my wall and I clear out D, if that makes sense. So I'm just in like a black space, and whoever comes through, I let them use me as a vessel, and they use my hand to write what they want to say. And a lot of the times it's not a full sentence, it's words, but the words end up making sense to somebody. And
now, do you get, like you said, it's not complete sentences. Do you ever does it ever just scribble down jumble?
Yes.
I mean, just odd letters and numbers, and you have to kind of decipher what they're trying to say.
And a lot of times it's upside down.
Yes.
Oh, really?
And I have to turn it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I can't write upside down.
Well, I was actually just thinking about that because, the whole spirit writing thing, my inner skeptic comes out a lot.
Right, absolutely.
And I always thought, okay, that's a bunch of horse crap. And then I got, got around Dee and seeing her on investigations, I've been there and seen you sitting there, not even looking at it, not even holding the pen in the way that you would write. A kindergartner couldn't put like a letter T with the way you're holding it. And then you look and it's all upside down, and it blows my mind. That it's not supposed to work that way. I don't understand it. And
it really is.
It has broken my mind.
It's a complicated perception.
Yeah.
To me, it would be for you to have to decipher what this spirit is trying to say, what message it's trying to bring you, and not only doing that, but when you put your wall down, you're getting attacked by.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure when you let your wall down, you have a rush of messages that wants to be gotten out. And how do you?
That's why it's all jumbled and the handwriting is different.
Because sometimes there's different ones coming through you at different times. I was going to say, can you block out all the other ones and let this one go first? Can you sit there and say, all right, now everybody get in line. Let's get in line right here.
Right.
It's not
females
that easy.
on the left,
I wish
males
it were.
on the right. Let's just get this in order and quit all this jumble. Okay?
Take your ticket. Here's your number.
Right.
I wish.
Take a number and go to the back of the line.
I wish.
Serving number 14.
Now that sometimes there are spirits that are stronger than others, and I am able to let just that one come through.
Right.
And I've noticed a lot that the first thing they say is, I'm dead.
Really?
Upside down. I'm dead. Or me. And I'm just gathering that as they're maybe feeling a little bit human again, I guess, because they're going through me.
Right.
So they're me, and oddly enough, I was doing one with one of my friends, and it was very quiet. I was in the middle of it, and when I came back to, it's kind of like I'm in a trance. So I don't really know what's going on. I don't know what's being written until I read it.
Mm-hmm.
When I came back to, the whole paper said I, like eyeball, I. And I look over at him, at my friend, and he's white. And I was like, what is wrong with you? And he was like, I got this overwhelming feeling that you were going to stab me in my eye.
Oh, wow.
So I don't know if the spirit was.
Yeah, no kidding.
was like, I mean, the spirit was malevolent.
Right.
And not very nice. But I can control that.
That was my next question.
It not control me.
Right. So you can control who comes in and who stays.
Yes.
Okay, so
if it's bad, I'm stopped.
Yeah, you don't give it a chance to go any further, try to get a message out or nothing to you. You block him out and you go for the next person to come or whatever spirit that comes along.
When I first started opening back up, I was with Derek, and I had invited them to a friend of mine's house, and all of a sudden I started feeling funny, and I blacked out, and I was blacked out for probably, I don't know how long, I think 45 minutes maybe.
Oh, wow.
But he said my face changed. I was growling and snarling at him, at Derek, and he was trying his best to get it out of me.
Wow. Yeah, so
I had to learn real quick.
Is it still in you now?
No.
I think that's been a good show.
Yes, I'm going to keep them on.
Because you give me goosebumps when you sit there talking.
Well, I mean, I usually don't growl and snarl at anyone. I mean, now before coffee, I probably do, but
you growl and snarl before coffee, after coffee, during coffee. So
I've never growled and snarled at anybody that didn't need to be growled and snarled at.
So, hey, you're right about that.
Right.
So now, when you do, excuse me, when you do boot one out, say a spirit comes in that you're malevolent, you're evil, we don't want you in here. Do they try to come back?
Yeah.
Do they?
They don't go far.
So
they linger and make it very intense on my body, or I notice that it'll affect people around me, like their mood will go from to, and
So
they don't
basically,
really
when you
notice.
kick the spirit out, there's a possibility that that spirit's trying to go through someone else because he just went through you and he can see he can.
Yeah.
Possibility he could possibly do it to the other ones, and it's affecting their mood.
Right.
That's interesting.
Until it runs out of energy.
Yeah. That's interesting. That's really interesting how it does that.
So
You got another message. Hey, say something nice about me and Frank here, Shannon. We're here too. Hello. What are we? Chopped liver?
But something I'm curious about too is, how many times have you found yourself, and something I'll point out a little bit later about, you going into like the meditative state, but how many times have you found yourself taking on characteristics of someone that you don't even know, like maybe in words that you use or the way you pronounce them or just your demeanor in general?
It's ew.
We were just talking about one not too long ago, when outside here. You tell that story as well.
Well, the investigation we went on to, I guess, I can't remember the name of the place.
We've done so many.
I know.
They all try to blend together. But
me and Pink,
this place we went to, I think it was in Trustful, right?
was it Trustful or Silicaga? I swear it was Silicaga.
I don't remember that. I mean, we did so many there.
It was a plantation of some kind, I think. Anyway, me and Pink were. There were
it was in Central Alabama.
Yes, and there was a lot of old antiques in the house. There were porcelain dolls. No porcelain dolls.
That was in Silicaga, I think. I think that was in Silicaga. Yeah.
And me and Pink were sitting in her room, and she was sitting over here, and I was sitting over here, and we were doing an EVP session, and Pink asked some question, and the woman of the house came through me. My voice changed, my accent changed to a Southern belle. I remember what I said, but it was weird. It was the weirdest feeling because it was like someone else's mouth behind mine moving mine. If that makes sense.
And and you don't have an Alabama accent.
No.
You really don't. But when you started talking, and we were there, we witnessed this as well.
Yeah.
She sounded just like I'm talking right now. Long Southern drawl, just a heavy accent, and it was really spooky to me. It was because you never heard her talk like that, and then all of a sudden she's coming out with this real thick, heavy Southern drawl. She should have won an Emmy, or because if she was faking, she should have won an Emmy. But
she said he's off tinkering somewhere, and I just remember it because she used the word tinkering for one. And it was pretty accurate after we had started
review and everything.
Yeah,
have to review the
that
evidence.
he would do those things.
Right, that's one of his hobbies. He would go out and tinker on things around the farm.
Yeah.
So that's definitely interesting. Now let me ask you this: when you are investigating with other sensitives, say when you and Pink and Andy go along, what happens when the streams pass? When the streams
you're never supposed to cross the streams.
You never cross the streams. But you got 3 people. How do your streams not cross?
They do.
I've been waiting for the universe to explode every investigation because I'm like, hey, back away. Your streamline. Keep in mind.
It definitely makes me stronger, and it makes Pink's ability stronger. It just makes us stronger.
So basically, when you say basically the aura, I'm going to call an aura that you're putting out, your sense of perception. When all 3 of you combine, you get stronger and able to communicate better.
Yeah.
All right.
On one investigation that we went on, I don't think Andy was with us yet. It was us and Pink and
right. And Andy, you'll hear us mention her a lot of times. Andy's a newer team member. She's not one of the original C.A.S.P.I.R Paranormal team members, but she's joined us within the last couple years. And she has just now become known that she has, extrasensory perception. and she hasn't quite homed it in yet. So we've invited her to the team,
We've
and
been
she
trying to
joined.
help her out.
Exactly the way Pink helped you,
Mm-hmm.
and now we're helping Andy in her perceptions as well. So
I was actually in the middle of doing a spirit riding at this one house that we went to, and Pink came and sat down next to me, and this woman's name her name popped up, and I said her name out loud, but before I said her name out loud, I was writing the letter E, and I believe it was E, and Pink was getting the letter E, and then I said her name when Pink came and sat next to me. I guess our energy just honed in with this woman, and I actually, after I got her name, saw her in the 50s, standing in the kitchen, washing dishes. Her hair was brown. She was in a little 50s dress. The sun was shining through, and come to find out, you found out that she had passed away there before those previous owners lived there.
I think that was the case that we didn't find out till later on.
Yeah.
After
it
the
was,
review, when we
when
we did more or no, it was actually next door neighbor come over
Right,
and
right.
the homeowner called us back.
the homeowner had no idea about it, and she was kind of talking to the neighbor about what happened during the investigation. They were like, "Oh yeah, this woman, she lived there.
She passed away here a while
Yeah.
back, and then it turned out she was actually coming next door,
Yeah. But none of us knew that.
hanging out.
You know, none of us
So,
knew.
Yeah, we did not know that at all. We didn't find it in any of the research or anything.
No.
So Pink says that y'all share energy.
Share energy, yes. That's
And
a good way to put it.
So here,
Kim Johnston is watching. Thanks,
Oh,
Kim,
thank
for
you.
watching. Thanks for joining us. Adam Stocks, hey,
yeah.
we're getting on up there. So,
So now,
Ethan,
something.
my son Ethan just joined us. Hey,
Ethan.
Ethan. So,
Something I'm curious about is just your opinion. When you do have several sensitives get together, do you think that it increases your own perception of what's happening, or do you think you might somehow be picking up on what they're sensing, and that be what's amplifying it?
Both.
Both.
because the way I'm thinking is you have 4 sensitives.
That's a question
That-
I've never asked before.
that,
all the time I did radio and all that, all the people I talked to.
was a good question. I'll let you finish it. I don't want to interrupt it because that was a good question.
Oh, no, go ahead. I was just floating for a moment.
It's
Oh
definitely
my goodness!
both.
Now his head's gonna get so big he can't fit it in the screen right now. I mean, come on.
He's gonna start
don't-
dressing fancy.
I know.
Have a
I know. Don't rub his ego. It'll take me weeks to get it deflated again.
I have my boom mic set up here. So tell me about the time that.
So, anyway, I done forgot your question.
Um,
Go ahead.
no, but I can tell the difference though. It's almost like reading a book with pictures. I can see what I'm seeing and feeling, and then all of a sudden their part of it will come into play, and I can see what they're seeing and feeling, and so it's a lot.
Yeah, it
It's
sounds
definitely
like it
a
is.
lot.
I mean, if you have 3 or 4 more sensitives in the area, and the bombardment you say that y'all get when you open yourselves up, that's got to be just an overwhelming experience.
Yeah.
Because having to block this one and talk to this one and hey, wait your turn, and hey, can y'all calm down over there a little bit? You're being too loud. I can't hear this one, or something like that. Trying to be funny. That's not really the way it goes. But
I
so-
often will cry the first time I open up
Oh,
because
really?
it's so much.
So much on me, yeah. So
And it's not out of sadness or anything. It's just, like
Right.
a crowd rushing you.
Pink said that it feels like just a bunch of little pin pricks on her when she gets rushed like that. When she
Yeah.
finally lets go and lets things
Yeah.
communicate with her. So I can only imagine how that would be with so many, and then you add 3 more to the mix, and then it's just chaotic. It would probably seem to me. especially when you're trying to concentrate, and this one over there may not be getting the message across he wants to, and he's going to try to come to you.
Frustrated, yeah.
And, I mean, I guess that's the way it goes. If they can't communicate like they want with this one, it'll try to come to you, right?
Right.
It's going to communicate with whoever is going to get the message to them,
Right.
whatever they want to say.
Yes.
So,
and we're.
and I'm assuming, say, like you go into a place and you're sick, you're not putting off a lot of energy. Does your health, your mental state affect how much comes in and how much you keep away?
If I'm, the sicker I am, the lower my wall is. So it's because it takes a lot to keep the wall up.
Right.
And you try to every day, it can get very exhausting. But I love it.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely something interesting.
So something I'm curious about is, how do you typically feel after investigations? Like, say, say we go out somewhere and we investigate, we get wrapped up, you get in 2 in the morning.
Just about answer that question before you asked it. It lasts
She's
for a
in
few
your
days.
head. She's in your head again, Frank.
Right.
I'm telling you.
It's
The first time didn't scare you?
It's
empty in there. It's all alone.
I don't know. Sometimes I feel very rejuvenated, but it'll last a few days.
Mm-hmm.
The impact of a place, if it's a high level place, like the place where the marble table moved, because something actually followed me home from there, and he stayed at my window for a very long time. And I had to learn how to take control of my surroundings. So,
That would be, and at the same time, you were still trying to hone in your skills as well. Trying to
helping them move on.
Right.
Because I'm not perfect at that. I'm still working on it every day.
So this spirit communicated through you, found an access, and wanted to hang on to that access.
And he was very angry at first.
Oh, really?
But the more I because I tried to shut him out, the more I listened to him, though, he lightened up. And then eventually he went away. And I was like, well, he didn't just go away. He
found another access.
He went,
Right.
I was like, well, maybe that's what I need to do, just talk to him.
That may be it.
And
that may
find
be the
out.
only thing that they need, is they just want to get something off their chest or whatever. And it's been said for years, that people leave this earth and not ready, tragically, suddenly, unleft business, stuff like that. They don't want to leave, but all they want to do is come and say a couple things to you, and then they can cross over, or however that process goes.
Yeah, exactly.
You were talking about earlier how, before you do the autonomous riding, or before you really try to put a guard up, or, all of that, the common thing that you said before every one of those things was that you try to bring yourself down into a meditative state. And just, as you're saying that, what's going through my mind is, when people meditate, it brings your brain waves down to a lower frequency. That, if you look at one of the neurological charts of alpha waves and beta waves, of the different stages of consciousness, but from all the way from sleep to fully alert, when you meditate, I just can't help but think that your frequency that your brain waves go to is very similar to a lot of natural energy frequencies. And I don't say that in a metaphysical sense. I mean it like geologically. The frequencies that we are,
the earth
always
itself puts off.
Yeah.
Right, we are always surrounded by energy waves of several different types, several different frequencies. But some of the main carriers are right around that 7 to 14 hertz range that our minds go into when you hit that meditative state.
Yeah.
And I've always wondered is, since you seem to perceive so much more, anyone with abilities, they always talk about how much their perception increases. when they do that, when they bring themselves there, I can't help but wonder how much of that they're picking up off of those carrier frequencies. Are you allowing yourself to go down enough that you're able to kind of tap into some of that information? Is that?
I think so.
Would you do you think that if you went into a place and say you were upset or angry or even afraid, do you think that with your brain and that mindset, do you think you would pick up as much as if you went in there in more of a relaxed state?
Probably not.
So that's kind of.
I don't know. I've noticed that like when I'm sick, things just come, and I can't do anything about it. But when I'm angry, nothing can.
Right.
It's like my wall is there and nothing is, and I'm not paying it, and it's just not there. But
nothing's getting through.
No. And when I'm relaxed, I can do either or. Let it in, let it not. But the thing is, I never completely shut off because I'll always see them. I see
Are you
them
seeing?
now.
Oh, that was my question. So she is in our head, man. I ain't liking this. I am not liking this. The third question tonight. She has already thought that we're going to ask and answered it before we can ask. Jennifer says, "Stop using such big words, Frank. She can't see us. It's starting to get smoky in here." Sam says, "Hey." He says, "Sorry, he's late." Hey, you just joined us at the perfect time. So, and Pink asks, "How many sensitives does it take to screw in a light bulb?" That's a good question.
That is a good question.
Leave it to Pink to come up with something like that for us and throw us all off. So let's see. I would say I don't know. How many sensitives does it take?
I've never thought of all the questions I've thought of over the years. That's one I have.
I know. So I'm stumped on that one, Pink.
Pink is going to have to come up with her own answer on that one. Sorry, you have to Google it.
Pink, you're going to have to let us off the hook on that one.
Shannon wants me to tell a story. I'm trying to think of one that I could tell from the past, I guess.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that. Have you ever had an experience that, you're going into an investigation, you're ready, you've been in your meditative state, and the spirit that tries to come you is so bad that you don't want to do it anymore the rest of the night, that you're trying to fight him off has drained you so much, and that, I guess the question I'm trying to ask is, how do you keep off something that powerful when you actually let your wall down? Is that something that you have to train yourself to do over time?
Yeah.
Or is that something that you can just go, hey, stop, and it's done?
A lot of the times, yes, you can say stop because we are living.
Right, we're in control.
We're in control. But there are some that are persistent and will just drain you down to your bare minimum and will go home with you. and
wait for you to be at your most vulnerable times, because that's how they
from it.
Yeah, that's how they do it. They just want to beat you down until they get you weak so they can take over, basically, is what they're trying to do. And that's scary in itself.
I think you just described marriage.
No, babe, that's not our marriage. I'm sorry. Jennifer's watching. You're going to get me in trouble. All right,
hey, you didn't have to laugh at it. I'm just saying.
I laughed because everybody else was laughing.
Right.
I'm being serious.
I actually have a story I can tell if you would like me to.
Yeah, go right ahead. Anytime. Just tell us to shut up and we'll let you talk.
I was probably 17 and I had come down with some kind of sickness and my fever was like up to 102, and my mom is also a medium, as I believe that's where I get my abilities from, is from my mama, and she just so happens to work somewhere where people don't always make it, and they come home with her because they see her as a white light. So I was really, really sick. I started feeling like, you know how it sounds when your jeans rub together?
Mm-hmm.
It sounded like that in my bedroom. And it would sound like just a bunch of jeans were walking around my bed. So I went and got in bed with my mom. And I was trying to go to sleep, and I opened my eyes, and there was a blonde-headed little boy standing right in front of me. And
Man.
I woke her up, and I said, Mom, there's a little boy in the bedroom. He looked human. He had blonde hair. I didn't notice at the moment that his clothes were out of date, because I didn't feel good.
Right.
And I kind of wondered, was I hallucinating or was he there? And my mom sat up and looked over and saw him too. And
now, does your mom
asked him-
have
yes,
extra perception as well?
She does.
So, oh, okay.
She just told him that he didn't have to be there anymore. And he stayed a little while longer and just stared at me, but he left after that. And I think that's one of my biggest spirits that looked superhuman to me,
Right. Now, some of them come in different shapes and sizes and
Yeah.
forms. It could come as, do you ever get any that come to you as a relative that may have passed away? Do you have the spirits trying to play tricks on you, as demons and malevolent spirits do often? And we also have a question from chat as soon as you get done with this one, and it's a really good question.
I have not yet experienced that. They usually come to me, the best way I can put it is like an electrical charge, but in the shape of a person. They're blue, and there's all these like different colored wires. And that's how they walk around and move. But I've seen mists, I've seen shadows, I've seen just faces.
So basically, they're coming to you in the form of energy. You're actually seeing the form
Yeah.
of energy,
Mm-hmm.
somewhat.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds to me like.
Yeah.
Serena Lee Harris in chat, she asks, Dee, I was wondering, say you're in town, do you ever pick up on feelings and feel like someone wants you to tell a stranger a message for them?
Sometimes. I try not to open up in public, just because I don't feel comfortable yet doing that. I know I'll get there one day,
Mm-hmm.
but yes, I have had loud, hey, tell, that kind of situation. But the problem is you're in a room full of people, and I can't get who they want me to tell.
Right.
So I'm still working.
So you
on
don't
that.
know if they're trying to get you to tell that someone in that room or someone in town that,
Right.
or who the message goes to.
Right.
Well, that's a good question.
That was
That
a
is
really
a
good
really
question.
good question.
That sure was.
Yeah, that one's from my sister.
Oh, your sister. Hey.
Yeah.
So she got the brains of the family then, didn't she? So that's great. Hey.
Yay for Marmy and Dee Pink.
Yep.
Who's
So-
Marmy?
Indeed, my mama.
Okay,
It's
awesome.
from Little Women.
Ah.
So we're getting down to just a few minutes.
Yeah, we
left.
are. That hour went by quick,
Yeah.
didn't it?
Yep. So something I want to be sure to ask you while we are still going and everything. If someone were to come to you and say, "Hey, Dee, I saw you on the show, or I remember you from this investigation, and you talking about the abilities that you have and what you went through. I think I might have the same thing going on. What should I do?"
I first would hang out with them, because it'd be a lot of information that I would give to them in small doses, but the same way that Pink helped me. And one, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. That's a big component in this.
And reach out for help.
Yeah, always ask for help. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Ask for help. Don't think that you are Looney Tunes, you know.
And that's a big thing. A
That's
lot
a
of people
big
keep
thing.
it quiet because they're really worried about how social, or the public is gonna judge you, basically.
Yeah.
You know, so put a
Um,
stigma on you because you think, well, she's different, so they see spirits.
Yeah,
You know, so,
you're in control.
yeah,
You
in control.
are in control of your body, your
And
mind.
one of the questions I wanted to ask you, and we tried to get Pink to do this too, if you could just ask the spirits to write down a few lottery numbers, because me and Frank are headed to Georgia this
Sure.
weekend. So if you would just write down some numbers that we could
Okay,
play.
we'll do
and,
that.
Yeah, let me go get that notepad.
Yeah, get the notepad
I was-
so we can go on and get these
Because
wrote
the
down.
quick picks haven't worked out so far.
They sure have it, man. I mean, dang.
Hey Shannon, I might survive.
It
It looks like I might survive.
She's gonna make this one. We're gonna get
We
her
still
back.
got 4 more minutes.
That's right. Hey, a lot can happen in 4 minutes now. I
If
tell
you're
you.
still watching, you're probably asleep.
She might pop up here in just a
Maybe.
few minutes. Well, Dee, it has been great.
It's
to
been
have-
fun.
Yes,
I love
it really
it.
has. This was really a good show.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people got some good tidbit information in case one of them might be experiencing some of the things that you went through.
Yeah.
And
Feel free to
always,
message.
yeah,
Ask
absolutely.
questions.
See, there she goes again. I was about to say the same thing. Stop it. This is my show. But, so.
I can't help
But
it.
yeah, feel free to contact us. If anyone out there is watching, then can you believe it? Right here, every time the train, every Thursday night we get this train at 8.
He's running late tonight.
Actually, it is, didn't it? Sure did. The L857 or what?
I will.
But yeah, if anyone's watching that's experiencing these kind of things, feel free to reach out to people. There's a lot in the paranormal community that will be willing to talk to you and to help you out.
Of course.
C.A.S.P.I.R Paranormal is one of those teams that will help you out. At least give you some advice that you can follow and actually help you deal with some of these issues that you're having.
Same goes for parents who have children who might be experiencing
Good point.
things.
Absolutely.
You know, I
Good
can't
point.
tell you how many times I've talked to someone who says, I think that, this might be happening, or I'm experiencing this, and I think it might be linked to abilities that I could have, but I'm not sure. And we'll start talking, and they'll get into the family, and they'll be like, yeah, my mother had that, or my grandmother did that, and, it's like, well, have you talked to them? No. Why not?
So yeah, it never hurts. It never hurts to
Yeah.
reach out.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
ask.
Use your support networks that you have,
And it works out for you in the end. So.
and you can always call us. And I mean, call me. I'll recommend a good book for you.
Of course, he's got to pull his stick out. Pretty soon we're going to get the clap.
Right.
So, I mean, anytime he pulls his stick out, we get the clap. So, I mean.
I wasn't running that camera this time. Thank you.
Well, I hope you guys have me come back.
Yes, we are. We are definitely going to have you come back. We have some new equipment coming in that we need to get y'all to try out for us. And
We're going to need guinea pigs. I mean, on volunteers.
absolutely, yes. Sam, tell Sarah our thoughts are with her. We hope she gets to feeling better. Thanks to both of y'all for watching. But yeah, we'll definitely have you back. We're actually gonna try to put on a show, have you and Pink back both at the same time.
That'd be
So,
awesome.
And
see if we can cross streams and so we can get all
have it on video.
Yeah.
So the demise of the universe.
I've already
because
started with you guys.
Pink and Dee cross streams. So
And we were even talking earlier about doing a follow up. This was actually Dee's idea.
Actually, it was
to do a follow up to the Gansfeld experiment and have two people going, and because Pink and Dee work so much together on investigations, as they're usually a team.
A team, yes.
And they pair up and they do so well. So we're going to try the Gansfeld experiment with them teamed up.
Yeah.
And just see how that compares to our results. So with that
And
said,
some electrical shock therapy.
right.
I didn't tell you that earlier, but you done agreed.
But yeah, you already
Oh,
Yeah,
agreed.
you
no.
agreed, so you're in it now.
I'm in trouble.
I told you we'd get her.
So with that being said, thanks for watching, everyone.
Yes, absolutely. We enjoyed it.
Yep.
Sure
And
did.
and we'll keep an eye on us. We'll be we've got a few investigations coming up. Check out the team's Facebook page, our website. It's C.A.S.P.I.R Remember C.A.S.P.I.R because we couldn't spell it right the first time.
Right. We couldn't come up with a great acronym for the correct spelling.
Right.
So
we had to work with what we got.
Yeah,
I wasn't completely hooked on phonics at the time. And,
he wasn't, and he has trouble still with 2-syllable words.
Right.
So it's we're working on that though. We're getting there.
But yeah, and we have our Facebook page, of course. You can connect with us on there as well as the website. Our YouTube, subscribe to us. You can check out some of the stuff we do that you don't see on Facebook.
And I promise you, Frank won't be playing with a stick that often anymore. He won't. Here he goes.
I'm going to hit the button from here.
Don't do it, Frank. You'll knock the whole thing over.
So, have a great week, everyone. We'll see you next week. And keep an eye out for some of our videos from our investigation.
Absolutely.
So
good night, everyone. Thanks for joining. Dee, again, it's been
My
great.
pleasure.
We enjoyed it.
Loved it.
Frank,
What?
you walked in front of the camera.
Huh?
You blocked me for
What?
a minute. People are getting angry in chat.
I'm
because
trying to
you
figure
blocked
out how to get this thing on. I do it
You
with the
got
stick
your
this
stick
time.
in the way. Move your
No.
stick.
No, I'm gonna.
Oh my
Thanks,
goodness.
Shannon.
Let's see.
He's got the stick and
Let's get
That-
a close up on the
Oh.
stick. Nobody wants to see your stick
What?
that close.